This video is going to feature my new color-coordinated garage storage bin organization strategy. I have multiple modules that you see in the background here, and each one of those modules contains items for the various categories of my home emergency preparedness items, and I've allocated them to a couple of shelves in our garage. This same strategy could be reapplied to your general garage organization strategy. There's a lot to cover in this video. This has been in the works for a little bit now, so I was going to provide some background information on how I came to this organization strategy. I'll also tell you how you can make these storage bins for yourself, and then briefly talk about what each of the modules contain. So let's get right down to it. Again, this is my new color-coordinated garage organization strategy for my home preps. Let's get started. Let's briefly go over some of the background information for this particular project, as it's been something that's slowly refined itself over the past several years. If you've been following my channel, you know that I like leveraging modules for my various emergency preparedness items. It helps me stay organized and where I know where every particular category of item is in my various kits. After a couple of years, I started leveraging a color coordination system that associates a color to a particular category for my emergency preparedness items, and I call it the color of prepping. It was basically a poll that was conducted on YouTube where I asked the viewers to associate a color with a particular category of an emergency preparedness item. So for example, the color blue is associated with water supplies, so water filtration, purification, and things like that. So you could look for the blue module, quickly grab it, and you know that's all your water supplies. The color red is associated with first aid. So if you grab that red module, you know that contains all of your first aid supplies. So there was multiple categories. You have water, food, shelter, fire, comms, hygiene, cooking, clothing, personal items, and tools. So we conducted that poll and we've refined that system, and it's been working very well for all of my various kits and home preps. Around 6 years ago, I created a video called My Home Prepping System, which defined the strategy for organizing all of my various home emergency preparedness items, and I had it organized based off of various tiers. So tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Well, at the time of making that video, I wasn't quite ready to really tackle that large of a project. We didn't have a large enough home, for example, to really do this the right way. So it had to go on hold for a few years. So since I didn't have a garage to be able to leverage this project back then, what I did was I rented a storage unit to start building out this particular project. So I got the storage unit, bought some shelving for the storage unit, and then I was going to place several of these storage bins in there, and I was going to try to have them color coordinated. So what I did is I went on Craigslist and found a bunch of used storage bins that have built-in lids on them and used that for the organization, and I tried to leverage the colors used based off of the color of prepping. So I had some black bins, I had some red bins, I had some green bins. The problem that I ran into is that I just couldn't find all of the colors that I needed with the particular style of bin that I was able to find. And some people think I have a little bit of a case of OCD, and my OCD just would not handle that kind of mismatch of bins. So I had to think of a different route. Well, a couple of years ago, we were finally able to purchase our long-term family home, which has a garage with a little bit of storage space in it that I could finally implement this long-term project of my color-coordinated garage storage bins for my emergency preparedness items. So for the past several months, I've been buying these black storage bins from Home Depot. They're the Husky brand 18-gallon storage tote with integrated lid. I like the ones with the integrated lids because you're never going to lose the lid. They're very durable and they're stackable, so it works great for organization. Each bin cost around $16. So now all I had to do was color the lids to match up with the color of prepping. I decided to color just the lids of the storage bin, which is very easy to do with a single can of spray paint that adheres to plastic. I decided to go with the Rust-Oleum 2X Ultra Cover Paint and Primer, which you could get at Home Depot and also online for the various colors. It's around $3.50, so each storage bin ended up being around $20 then to match up with the color of prepping. So over the course of several weeks, I started spray painting all of the various bins to match the color of prepping, and it'll just take a couple of coats. You have to make sure to tape off the top portion of each of the storage bins, and then I eventually started using some paper on the side to help avoid any of the spray getting on the sides of it, to just have all the color featured on the lid portion of the storage bins. This ended up being a pretty simple DIY strategy for color coordinating those storage bins, which was a lot of fun, and I think the results came out pretty nice. Each one of the storage bins really pops with that color on the lid, and with the black body on it, it has a uniform look to it. So I'm pretty happy with how they came out. So I cleared out some space in the garage and allocated 2 shelves for my home emergency preparedness modules. So let's go over each one of those modules now. The blue module is for my water supplies. I don't store actual water in this module. I like storing the water in 5-gallon water jugs that are stored on a different shelf. But this particular module contains all of my water filtration and purification supplies. So stuff like pool shock, water filters, and things like that. The green module is for food. Now we have most of our long-term food storage in our kitchen cabinets, pantry, and in other shelves in the garage for things like the Mountain House number 10 cans. But in these particular modules, I have some of those Mountain House pouches and MREs. So again, the green module is for food. The brown module is for shelter items. So things like small tents, emergency bivy sacks, sleeping bags, wool blankets, and things like that. Again, red is for first aid items, so things like wound dressings, bandages, tourniquets, and other first aid items. Orange is for fire items, so various fire starters, whether they be matches, Bic lighters. I also have candles and other fire-related items in this particular module. Gray is for cooking items, so things like emergency stoves, backpacking stoves, various pots, utensils, and things like that. I use white for hygiene items, so things that go in the bathroom, dental supplies, cleaning solutions. I also use it for sanitation supplies as well. The purple module is for clothing items, and by clothing I mean not your normal clothes, but the clothes that you may bring with you on a backpacking trip or even in an evacuation. So things like a poncho, warm gloves, a warm hat, long johns, knee pads, and things like that. The black module is for my tools and tactical items. Your whole garage is basically a whole bunch of tools. So for this particular module, it's more tools that are related to backpacking and bug out bags and things like that. So knives, knife sharpeners, rope, and other items. And finally, the color pink is used for personal and miscellaneous items. So maybe some important family photos and things that you just want to lose and you want to have stored in a single location. I also use it for entertainment items like games and things like that. So again, pink is for personal. During an actual emergency situation, in most cases, the best approach is to bug in or bunker in place in your home. After all, that's where you have all of your supplies. But in the cases that you have to actually evacuate your home, I thought that this organization method was a good strategy for that because it allows you to easily transport these various modules into your vehicle and then be on the go. So if you had to evacuate your home, you could grab your bug out bags and maybe a couple of the modules, maybe the food module, water module, shelter module, put it into the back of the SUV with your family, and then be on the go in an emergency situation, and you have all of your key items exactly where you know where they're at. So I think this particular organization strategy works well for that scenario as well. That basically wraps up my new color-coordinated garage storage bin organization strategy. What I have now is a baseline that I can now expand upon as I obtain more and more gear for my emergency preparedness items. And if I need to, I could add more shelves and additional modules that are color-coordinated. So please leave your comments below in the comment section regarding this particular video. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching it. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. It's been a long time in the making, and I'm excited about the possibilities that it's going to have for my organization in the garage and for my emergency preparedness supplies. So again, leave your comments below in the comment section and stay tuned for more videos. See you guys next time.